Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am super excited to be back. It is 2022, and if you didn't already know, I am Shay T, and this is Young and Purposed. All right, let's dive straight into our topic for today. How to act on the knowledge you already have right now. So what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video today looks to help you with not just compiling and compounding more and more new information and things, but to work with information that you already have readily available to you right now in your mind and in your brain. If that's the kind of stuff you're interested in, then you have to keep watching. It's the internet age, guys. There's so much information out there. There's a whole lot of stuff out there. It's crazy. There's so much going on in the world, and the info is just right there for you to click and just browse through. All you just have to do is Google it. I mean, I can't believe there used to be a time when it was a stone age and people had to travel miles on end, maybe on their feet or on camels' backs or something like that, just to find new information. But today, that is not the case. There is so much that is available to us, especially as millennials. What is that now? Millennials. Generation Z and whatnot. We young people and even older people have access to all of these things. It is overwhelming. More times than not, we overwhelm ourselves with informative knowledge that we gather from reading books, online materials, attending webinars, seminars, online activities as you have it. There's so much out there to acquire. There's so much out there to learn. There's so much out there to put on yourself. It's easy to get swoon into all of that. It's easy to get drowned in your brain. It's easy to just have so much that you can't even think of what to lay your hands on, what to start doing right now to help you be more productive at that point in time, because you just have so much mumbo jumbo going on. And when that happens, the most natural thing, and which many people would do, I myself would do that, is to want to take a little bit of a pause, just relax and, just chill. Let me give my brain a little bit of rest. Let me get a breather. Let me think, what will I do next? But for now, I just want to pause. Now, what happens when you do that is one pause leads to another, and another pause leads to one too many. Before you realize it, it's 3 months and you haven't done anything productive. Now, where do we go from there? You begin to feel like, oh, maybe I'm not, I'm such a failure, I haven't got much done, blah, blah, blah. Overwhelming feeling, leading to all sorts of things that I don't even want to begin to mention. Please, don't get me wrong. I definitely encourage taking such breaks, especially as a creative, a business person, a career person, as anyone. I mean, your brain needs a little bit of rest from time to time. You need that stress reliever. You need to it's essential for everyone. But a huge revelation for me is the fact that the fats in your brain can be likened to fertile soil. I mean, can you just imagine what fertile soil can do? It germinates literally everything from weed to grass to trees. Everything that can be grown will germinate on fertile soil. Now, what you have to do is plow through all the junk and all the rubbish and filter everything so that you can have enough room to see what you're trying to plant, to see all of the right crops that you intend to grow, to just have room so that in case you want to plant new things, you want to put new things there, you can have enough room and you can know which is which and where what is supposed to be. Now, that's the same thing for our minds and our mental space. You have to filter through all of those mumbo jumbo and just weed out all of those irrelevancies, because there's so much to learn. I mean, right now, I bet people can even study how to become medical doctors online. I mean, is that not going on right now? My younger sister is studying to be a medical doctor, and since COVID, obviously they haven't been having a lot of practicals and whatnot, or attending classes in the hospital space as they used to do before. I'm just trying to say there's nothing you cannot learn online right now. You're thinking about something, the fact that you just hit a Google search about it, such ads and stuff relating to what you're thinking about are just going to keep popping up on your phone. If you think about 1,000 things a day, you can get ads for those 1,000 things, and you can click and just keep clicking and just keep going, and it's so much information to filter through. It can become so cumbersome that you will not be able to figure out which thing exactly you can do to be productive, to have alignment, to have that straightened out path in your productivity. Do you get what I mean? And that is what I am trying to help you avoid by doing this video. Now, before I move on any further, I'll first of all like to tell you about 3 different kinds of knowledge. Okay? Now, the first one is explicit knowledge. Now, explicit knowledge, in short, I'm just going to, run through these. Explicit knowledge, in short, is external stuff. Things that you can garner on the outside, writing materials, just things on the external that are knowledgeable, right? Next, we have implicit knowledge. From the word, from what it implies, implicit. Now, implicit knowledge is more of what is inside of you. Now, most times, implicit knowledge is gathered by applying the things you've learned from an explicit kind of knowledge. Now, it's more practicable. It's like, okay, maybe you're on a project, or you're on maybe you're doing your master's or something. I'm just trying to relate this to real life situation, right? The things that you learn on theoretical basis, now you begin to apply them practically. You begin to read and understand, how do I apply this in an office situation? How do I apply this to my business? How do I, practice this? How do I make this work? It's sort of like know-how. Do you get what I mean? And next, we have tactic knowledge. Now, tactic knowledge is like the boss of all bosses. It's more like intangible knowledge, things you can't really explain, but they're just there. It's really, really, really intrinsic. That has become like much more a part of you. It's like you don't even think, okay? You just know that you know this thing. It's more like both explicit and implicit all join. Well, it's more informal, and it always applies to specific situations. Like you are a guru, in this specific situation. You have the know-how. You have it. You are the knowledge. Once you get there, problem solved. Do you get what I mean? Okay, like I said before, the inability to apply knowledge mastery mostly comes from overcrowding your brain with information that you may not necessarily need. And so, how to apply what you already know right now, all the things you already have in your head right now, how to apply that information to get you productivity with your head, with your heart, and with your body is what I'm going to teach you in the next 5 steps. So, number 1, know what you know and know what you don't. Sounds so easy, right? But think about it. You have to know the things that are your know-how, those things that are tactic knowledge to you. And you have to know what is not really so intrinsic in you. You just have basic knowledge. You just have peripheral knowledge. You can't just come and say, I think I know how to perform surgery because I used to watch Grey's Anatomy. Uncle, are you okay? Please don't come and be the cause of somebody's death. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to know those things that are, it's just there. Like you have it. You are an authority. As opposed to, I read this, please. You just have to know those things that are intrinsic to you, those things that you are extremely knowledgeable about and focus on those. Know the things that are not your thing. 2, in every situation, in everything you do, every time, always seek first for inward knowledge as opposed to external information. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying external information is not important, because of course that is. But whenever you're confronted with a real life situation, whenever anything comes up and you're laden with the burden of having a thought process, I mean, you have to think before you act, right? The first thing I want you to do is look inwardly. What do I already know about this situation? As opposed to just getting your phone and jumping on Google, blah, 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 blah. I want you to first think, what do I know? Do you know what that does for you? What that does for you is it emboldens your thought process, especially when you now have to go out and get external information. At least you know that you already have a little bit of foundation. In your mind, some of those things that are tactic knowledge to you are already solidified. So when you're trying to find out things on the outside to add to what you already know, it just makes it all the more better, right? It just makes you all the more confident, all the more sure that what you're doing is right. Your confidence as an authority in that particular subject is boosted. Now, when you have to deliver, when you have to present your delivery or whatnot, you then realize that your mind is already accustomed to those things. So even when you're getting external information to add, maybe you're trying to figure out just how to fine-tune the knowledge that you already have, you are more confident to present yourself as an authority, because it feels more like that thing came from inside of you and not just, oh, I just Googled it. It feels more genuine and real. Number 3, always ensure that you are applying the right method at the right time. Now, I have to tie this point to number 2. Remember, we talked about you being genuine in your approach, going on the inside to search for things you already know. And then later on, I now spoke about how you may actually still need to outsource some information. You may actually need to go out there to search for more things just to fine-tune what you already know. Now, point number 3 is that you have to apply the right method at the right time. How do you do that? Sometimes you are such a pro at something. You have such in-depth knowledge. You are like a go-to person. But I mean, times are changing. The world is advancing. There's so many new ways to do old things right now. There's so many things that used to be appropriate in the past, but which are no longer appropriate these days. Now, going out there to get information on how to do things the right way at the moment will be very, very resourceful for you. That's something that's going to help you to be more of a pro at what you know. Number 4, follow your instincts while testing your limits. All right, guys. Since there's already so much you're trying to work with, there's so much in your mind you're trying to filter through, now you've been able to figure out what is your tactic knowledge, you've been able to weed out all those things that are making your thought process cumbersome. You are now trying to focus, you're trying to, do something that's really going to be genge. You understand what I'm trying to say? The tendency to be adventurous is highly likely. In a bid to do that, there might be some kind of wild thoughts that come into your mind, like, why don't you try this out? Why don't you do it like this? Maybe this way will be better. You're trying to be like really badass, which can be encouraged for the right reasons. What I'm trying to say here is, while you're doing all of that, ensure that you are not quieting that small still voice in your conscience that's telling you this is the right way to do it. This is the right thing to do. Most of the time, your small still voice is very correct. A lot of people call it, oh, instincts, or, you know, it's my mind, it's my conscience, it's my this, whatever. I'm a Christian and I'm a very God-centered person. I just believe that's the Holy Spirit speaking to you. And do not try to quiet the voice of the Holy Spirit inside of your heart, inside of your mind. If the voice is saying to you, don't do this, it's going to go south, maybe you should be a little bit more thoughtful before you go into that. If the voice is saying to you, why don't you do it this way? It looks like this is really going to blow up. This is really going to be good. Then you should consider listening to that voice and just do it that way. Okay? Lastly, but definitely not the least, just start doing. Sounds a little bit cliche, right? But it's true. Just begin to do. Guys, I cannot overemphasize the fact that you just simply getting into action does so much more in your mental space, because you move your hands, you move your feet, you just get into action. Your brain shifts from a dormant state. Your brain shifts from, oh, I have so much junk going on, to, okay, I'm actually making this work. I'm actually doing this. I think this should be the next step. I mean, just look at this like it's a puzzle. You're trying to solve it. But if you just keep it there on the table, it's always going to be unsolved. But when you take step A, before you realize, you find B and then C, and then next thing, it's all synchronized and everything just keeps working. I mean, it's just going to keep working together for your good, the fact that you have started. So just begin to do, all right? The content may be short, it may not sound so serious or so grand, but it is content. So put it out there. It may not be the best right now, but it's better than nothing, okay? An online mentor of mine was in a class, and then he asked a question, you know, it's like a popular cliche statement. Okay, so I need all of you in the room to tell me, practice makes what? And everybody began to chorus, perfect. Practice makes perfect, practice. And then right there in the middle of their chorus, he stopped them and said, scrap that. There's no such thing as perfect, okay? Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes progress. And that has stuck with me. As a matter of fact, this year, 2022, in fact, what am I saying? In my life, like onward, that's just what I want to be living with right now. I just want to be doing well, better, best. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Just practice. It may not be great right now, but the next one you do will be a little bit better, because you know something that you didn't know before. Because you practice something that you had never done before. The next time you do it, you're going to be able to brush up more on what you had done in the past, okay? So I want to encourage you to run with that logic, run with that mentality that practice makes progress. So just begin to do it. Just start. Just do something. Just put your feet in the water. Just silence all the voices and close all the chapters and everything, all the files that you have running at the same time, 1001 of them. Just decide that this is my go-to, and I'm going to start today, right away. And before you realize it, you're already becoming an authority. You're already becoming productive, because it was that unproductivity in the first place that had you feeling so clenched in your chest. But the fact that you've begun to practice right now is going to make you more productive and feel better, not just in your mental space, but also in your physical space, because your mental health most of the time translates to your physical well-being, okay? So begin to practice today. Begin to do. Begin to act. I'm so excited that you stuck with me till the end of this video. It has been fun doing this with you guys. And I'd like to say thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk. Till my next video. Bisous.